And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back in. This is episode 380. And I have to tell you right now, I'm the most tired I've been in several weeks. I've been, and let me just give you a recap of my past week, the past 6 days. I've been to 3 concerts in the past 6 days. The latest one, well, obviously, was last night. I got home at, I think, 11:30, and then I had 2 bowls of cereal because I had dinner at 6:30 or 7 o'clock, and usually I'm eating so much. Because I work out a lot. So I'm eating so much, and basically I'm eating from dinner until like 30 minutes before bed. But last night I couldn't do anything. So I went to the concert, then I came back home, and I was starving. And there was a point in the middle of the concert I said, I know it's 10:30, but I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna have a bowl of cereal, and I know I'm gonna have to wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym. But I'm just going to do this, and I don't have to, but it's just easier that way. I'll talk about the concerts in a second. So I came home, had the cereal, and then went to bed, brushed my teeth, washed my face, took out my contacts. Went to bed, and I knew Garmin was going to get the watch, the app. They tell you the sleep score, all that stuff. I didn't even want to look. I work out, and then I come home, and I'm on the Garmin app and on Strava because I'm very fastidious with how I want things categorized. I go into the apps pretty much every day after I work out, and I'm reorganizing things. I'm deleting things. I'm recategorizing things that aren't categorized correctly, because even with all this technology, a Pilates class sent directly from Peloton isn't categorized as Pilates. Anyway, from Peloton to Strava is not categorized. Anyways, doesn't matter. Who cares? I'm so tired. So I'm categorizing things I'm categorizing my boxing and my plyo and my HIIT stuff on Garmin, and I look at the body battery, not where it started, because it did not get up past 50. It hit 43 to be exact, but I saw where it ended, and I was at that point on the bike, because I bike on Tuesdays and Thursdays after the gym. So I was sitting on the indoor bike over there, starting up some classes, turning on the Survivor 50, the latest episode, and I said, oh boy, 25. I was at 25% body battery. And so body battery is basically Garmin's estimate of where you are physically after previous workouts, after stress of the day, things like that. I was at 25 after the 43 from waking up at 4 o'clock after going to bed at like 12. It said I didn't fall asleep until 12:30, and I only got like 3.5 hours. And I was like, ugh. I then I said, okay, I did the classes. They were tougher because I did agree with the body battery. 25 was right. And then I start stretching, and yes, I stretch after every workout. And I start stretching, and then I go, all right, let me look at the body battery again. 8. I went, oh shit. I am tired. And all day I've been more than sluggish. But it was worth it to see. Last night I saw Courtney Barnett. You don't know who she is. She's an indie rocker who's been around. Her debut album was in 2015, I believe. Her latest album came out this year. It's not on YouTube Music. It is on Bandcamp. It is on Spotify. It's on Apple Music, but it's not on YouTube Music. It's not even on YouTube. And I discovered that maybe a couple of weeks after it came out. right? So I had to listen to it on Bandcamp. Anyway, I enjoyed it. She makes great indie music, great indie rock music, and she was just fantastic. The show is at the Tabernacle. I took the choo-choo over there. Walked from my house. I busted my butt to get to the station. And then as soon as I got there, it was like a 20-minute walk. And as soon as I got there, the train was like 3 minutes out. Got on it. Got to State Farm Arena. And then I had to... At that point, it was like 8... The doors opened at 6:30, but I wasn't like this. And the opener, I guess, went on at 7. But at that point, it's like 8:15. And so I'm just like... Assuming she starts at 9, I just start booking it. Fast walk. I already walk fast. And then I get to the Tabernacle. It's probably like another 5 or 10 minutes. I get over to the Tabernacle, and the opener finished up their last song. And I went, great. So now I'm just standing. Also, I have general admission at Tabernacle. So I'm just standing there waiting for this to come back on. I've already taken out my headphones. I did bring my headphones so I could listen to something on the train and not be bothered by people. And then I put in my concert earbuds, my loop earbuds, and I was just standing there for like 30 minutes. I didn't want to build up data on my phone. And I just kind of stood there looking around, you know. She came on around 9. And that's when we all started kind of moving in, but it still wasn't a lot of people in the standing room. And also there were seats, but up in the balconies, I guess. But anyway, I was on the ground standing, holding my rain jacket, just sweating my butt off because I walked there in the hot, moist heat in the train ride. And I wore pants. But also, last time I was at Tabernacle for Danny Brown and JPEG Mafia, it was the hottest I'd ever been because they didn't have air, and then now they have air, and they had different what are those wall machines that you really see in places like in like New York or California with older buildings that don't have it was like those little HVAC systems. She did great. She did well. She did great. Tabernacle I have some issues with. There's like a part of the floor you can't stand on, and I guess it's like a pathway or something like that. But to force people to stand so close to each other and not be allowed on this pathway in a concert that has sold well, but it's not sold out is just ridiculous to me. Anyway, Courtney did a good job. The previous concerts were Florence and the Machine and Bruce Springsteen. Florence and both at State Farm Arena. So I rode the train down to that area 3 times in the past couple of days. And I enjoyed Florence. I enjoyed Bruce. It was fantastic. The best seat I had was with Bruce Springsteen, but I also spent some money for that one. And Bruce, if you don't know, he's touring because he hates our president, and it's fantastic. And he preaches, and it's wonderful, and it's so fun. And everybody was just there enjoying themselves. The last time I went, I've spoken about this before, the last time I went to Bruce Springsteen, I sat in generally the same area. I sat behind the stage. This time I had such a good seat. I was 5 rows back behind the stage. I love that. It's my favorite part. And he kept turning around, looking at us, and everybody, like Tom Morello was there, and Niels Lofgren, and I don't know if he's right, Stephen Van Zandt. They all turned and kept playing to us, and it was fantastic. But the last time I went to Bruce Springsteen in Atlanta, I sat in generally the same area, next to, this is post like heavy pandemic, but people were still generally wearing masks. There was a woman who obviously came just for her husband, and she sat next to me, and her husband sat next to her. I wish she had traded spots, but giant purse over her lap, arms crossed, mask on, and just hit the microphone, and just not even having a good time. And I felt like I couldn't get up and dance, even though everybody else was dancing around us. Anyway, I had a fantastic time. And Florence and the Machine, she was excellent. Florence is amazing. Just her voice is just, oh my gosh. Okay, let's get into the very few stories I have today. This first one comes from Bloomberg, written by, I can't even see who's written by. So it's from Bloomberg. Disney's new CEO is exploring a super app for theme park tickets, movies, and more. Now, in complete fairness, since I can't even read this article and I can't even put the link into the thing that I use to break through the links, I'm on TechCrunch right now. This is from Amanda Silberling. I'm not going to link this. It's too much work. I'm kidding. She gives me all the information we need. She gives me all the information I need. So Disney has a new leader, Josh D'Amaro. He's the new CEO. He took over by Bob Iger a couple of months ago. He is very interested in finding a way to lure people to use a singular Disney app. Now, a super app is something that is usually and typically used in China. There's one app to do everything. Your shopping, your social network, your reading the news, all the ordering food. They usually just have in China, in Chinese territories, they typically have one app. I don't know why. I don't know why super apps are a thing. But super apps, and I've spoken about this before in previous episodes, don't really work in America. I guess cell phone users here, iPad, whatever, tablet users here, just want things separated. They want news in one thing. They want video in one thing. They want to order Uber in another thing. But D'Amaro is apparently with Disney in the early stages of trying to turn Disney Plus into that super app. So you load up Disney Plus, you would be able to, in the other apps would also include like bringing into Disney Plus, Disneyland Resort, Disney Cruise Line Navigator. We already are having Hulu and presumably ESPN Unlimited be brought into Disney Plus within, I don't know when that's going to happen. It's May 7th. Let's do it already. But now the idea is that they'll have the resort apps, the park apps, all that stuff right there in Disney Plus. D'Amaro said at Disney's quarterly earnings call this week, Disney Plus becomes the primary relationship between Disney and its fans. The place is where everything comes together. The everything apps, I don't understand. I don't know if it's going to be something that people want to do. Not everybody who likes Disney necessarily wants to go to the Disney parks. Not everybody who goes to Disney parks necessarily wants to watch a Disney Plus show. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually do this and when, and then how they bring it into the app. If all the park stuff is on the forefront, are people going to want to open up? People who typically watch Disney Plus, let's pretend, on your phone, if that's you, fine, more power to you, but you're not really watching anything. But if you typically pop open, what's the Daredevil Resurrection, is that what the show's called? Daredevil 2. And you want to watch that show on your phone, are you going to be like in there going, hey, maybe I'll set up a Disney cruise? Who knows? All right, let's move on. This next one comes from The Hollywood Reporter, written by Kevin Dolak. Vice News is being resurrected with fresh ambitions. Shane Smith is on the verge of bringing back Vice News yet again. He starting today. There's a collaboration. Starting May 6th. Okay, this is fresh. There's a collaboration with Adobe where Vice is somehow coming back. I did not read this, so we're going to go on this journey together. It's going to be more or less the same. It's not going to be as big as it was. A rep told the Hollywood Reporter that Vice 2.0 won't look much like its initial run. If you remember Vice, they had correspondents pretty much like CNN or PBS NewsHour. They had so many correspondents throughout the world, and they would do really excellent reporting. But also, some people would look ridiculous. There's one black guy who had a high top that was 12 feet high. I'm not kidding. It was so high, but he would be doing these super serious stories. They'd be doing stories about sex workers and drugs and the Islamic State, and it was really good reporting. It was really good reporting, but much like any other startup, even though Vice, they acted like a punk rock startup, in that every bit of money that they received from investors like Disney and others, they could have been valued at $1 billion or $2 billion, but they played around. They were messing around, and they didn't go public. But they value themselves pretty highly. Anyway, it was a whole ordeal. But they spent all that money. They never really became the serious news outlet that they could have been. I think part of the fall was buying History 2, H2, the cable channel, and becoming a cable package, but only on, I think like Charter Spectrum, that they were only available on there, maybe DirecTV, but nothing else, not even online. You couldn't even watch their flagship show for the Vice TV channel, Vice News. And I think Vice News show was so great. It was a daily news show. It was good. It was good for what it was. Anyway, now Shane Smith, he launched a recent podcast as of the last 2 years called Shane Smith Has Questions. It is produced by Vice, at least for its first season, with his, Bill Maher's Club Random Studios. Jesus. The podcast also serves as a thread connecting the brand's soft relaunch on this past Wednesday, which will introduce a new but pared down Vice News website. Okay, so if I type in Vice News, I didn't know Vice News. Oh, it's a Substack. It definitely brought me back to a Substack. Wow, look at this. If you're watching the video, I have brought up the new Vice News Substack website. I didn't know that the website completely shut down. That's very interesting. So there's Shane Smith Has Questions. I clicked on it, and it looks like a overly produced podcast. Oh, there's Scott Galloway. I'm sure he has some things to say about young men. He's smart, but he's like alt-right light, even though he's on the left. Anyway, they're also doing they're doing a lot of things, including brand partnerships. So there's going to be a mix of hosted video segments along with brand partnerships. So basically, they're essentially a YouTube channel. I don't want to have this on my YouTube, but I'm just going to search Shane Smith Has Questions. Yes, I can find it immediately. Oh, there's a new episode of Taskmaster. Oh, it's under the Vice News YouTube. Oh, so they're just repurposing the YouTube. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Here's what it looks like. If you're watching the video, you can see it. If you go to Shane Smith Has Questions, it immediately takes you to Vice News. So that's smart. I unsubscribed from Vice News a long time ago when they died. So the partnership is done right now by Adobe, and there's going to be a lot of Adobe stuff. Okay. At least periodically and for now. Don't expect to start seeing a daily dose of intriguing stories from around the world on the web. Coming from Vice News, content will come when stories emerge that the vastly shrunken operation sees fit and has the capacity to cover. Okay, so they're doing what they can right now. Again, for this to succeed, I think there should be more news outlets. I don't think that and we'll get to this in a second, not because the following story, the upcoming story is that, but not every journalist needs to be independent. I understand why there are so many independent journalists at this point in time, but people can only pay attention to so much. They can't really find you if you're just reporting the 5 or 6 stories that you're able to report on, as opposed to if you're working, the 1 or 2 stories that you're able to report on, as opposed to being able to do 5 or 6 with a traditional outlet. Now, with that in mind, it is a lot more difficult to work with an outlet, especially in today's climate where we have companies like CNN and CBS that are run by, and now they're going to be run by the same man, but they're run by right-leaning people who are showing their cards. Or when you have other companies like NBC Universal break off the unsuccessful non-money makers that are news and other cable networks, but more importantly, the news section, into subsidiaries of the larger company. Is Versant a Yeah, I guess Versant is a subsidiary of NBC Universal. And then you have other outlets being sued by the president because he doesn't understand what real reporting is, like ABC. And then you have those companies like ABC just settling because it's easier than that to fight. All right, this next one comes from The Hollywood Reporter, written by Alex Weprin. With TV news in freefall, anchors try breaking away. This is something I think it's a good idea initially, but if everybody's doing it, then it doesn't really make sense. Now, this piece, because this is a feature piece, will reference people like Mehdi Hassan and Piers Morgan and who's the blonde woman that I thought could do well at NBC. This is Megyn Kelly. Oof. Again, I thought Megyn Kelly would do great at NBC right after she left Fox News. I was rooting for her. I thought it was very possible for a comeback story of sorts because, here's this. Before I get into this, last week, the New York Times put out they have a weekly feature piece called The Interview. If you don't think that I'm thinking about suing, you got another thing coming. The Interviews, my show, and The Interview, their show that started well after my show, The Interviews. Better watch it, you old gray lady. That's the title. Okay. Anyway, so they put out in that weekly series an episode with Tucker Carlson, probably their longest episode yet. But you can also read the transcript on NewYorkTimes.com. But in it, he speaks to Lulu Garcia Navarro, who came from NPR, from Public Media, so she knows, which I think it was NPR, but she knows. She's been through the worst of it. She knows how to talk to these people, and she's done this. She's done her reporting job for a very long time. There's a split second in the hour and 27-minute interview where Tucker Carlson is remorseful for supporting Trump, and he says some, I'll admit, pretty decent things where you can go, okay, it'll be a couple of years, but he can earn the trust of other people who aren't in his orbit. But then, after that, he like it's just so quick. Turns back into the Tucker Carlson talking about, white men being on the bottom of the pyramid right now, and how women should be just different things where you go, okay, this guy has not learned a thing at all, and it's just ridiculous. Anyway, I urge you to go check out that interview because it is wonderful. Lulu Garcia Navarro does not back down. This guy Tucker keeps pushing back, being the dill hole that he is, and then she's just like, no, I'm not going to have it, and he's playing the victim, which is so sad. But if you read the comments of that piece, I started reading the comments of New York Times articles. But if you read the comments, it's like people stopped listening a quarter of the way through because they're like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I'm going to share it with my friends and my family, and I want to share it with all these people on the right who say like they can change too. But then if you read further in, the people who actually finish the whole thing, like he's just despicable and blah blah blah, and it's true. There was a point where like 15 minutes in, 20 minutes in, I'm just like he could do it. He could. I'm here for a redemption story, and he continues to be a piece of shit and racist, and it's fascinating how he can just double down and then be so weak. Anyway, Hassan, Mehdi Hassan is just like everybody, all these other people who went out and started doing their own thing after they left or were let go from pay TV. So, according to Weapon, on-air talent across the spectrum is dealing with the drawn-out death of TV in different ways. Some are seeking better time slots paired with digital extensions that can let them net them bigger contracts from TV and networks, despite desperate to break free from diminishing pay TV revenue. I think that is kind of in part in reference to somebody like Rachel Maddow, whose show went down to 1 hour a week, and they often on Miss Now send. I almost said it. I almost said MS Now. It's Miss Now, to me at least, because I'm a sexist. but on Miss Now and now on CNN they often point to and PBS NewsHour. I just point to my TV because it's on, but it's on PBS NewsHour. They all reference, hey, these shows also have extensions of the show on podcasts. You can check out the podcast from PBS NewsHour or from CNN, from our CNN anchors and things like that. But I think that's also a way for them to have more revenue, even though podcasting is not lucrative at all. Now, their competition has become people that they work with, these bigger, larger companies. Miss Now has a deal with Jon Favreau, John Lovett, and Timmy Vitor's Crooked Media to televise some of their video podcasts on TV, and they won't be the last. We've seen, just as a little side note, we've seen Netflix get into podcasting. Sort of. They license the Ringer podcast to air on Netflix exclusively, but you can still get Ringer podcasts. So you can still get Ringer podcasts audio wise, but they also have Netflix only shows that are just essentially talk shows, like the Pete Davidson show that's on Netflix, but you can't get the audio, period. You can't even turn off your phone and just listen to it. And then Hulu has licensed podcasts from like Lamorne Morris and Hannah. Oh God, it's Lamorne Morris, Hannah Simone's podcast, The Mess Around, that you can still watch on YouTube, but the video is also, and the Handsome podcast with Tig Notaro, Fortune Feimster, and Emma Willman. That podcast, those podcasts rather, you can still watch on YouTube, but they're also available on Hulu, and you can also still listen to audio. Anyway. We're going to see a lot more deals, one insider predicts, that these hybrid deals over the course of the next few years, with TV talent keeping one foot in each bucket of the business. And the good news for TV vets is that the marketplace for news, talk, and interview content seems to be expanding. Yes, YouTube has become the de facto home for it, but TV channels are buyers now too, as are platforms like SiriusXM, and much to the amazement of some, Netflix too. Yeah, Brian Williams just went over to Netflix with the new podcast, I think. Anyway, and SiriusXM, yes, they've been doubling down and buying a lot of podcasts. There's now Weprin is talking about how people like Mehdi Hassan and Megyn Kelly left TV for podcasting, and they've become very, very lucrative. Megyn Kelly's show, I don't know, I do not support her. I do not want to listen to the Megyn Kelly program. I hide all that right leaning stuff on SiriusXM. I have no idea though. I have no idea where the video lives. I assume it's on the SiriusXM app in the same way I watch, Howard Stern, and sometimes concert pieces from like Dave Matthews Band and Pearl Jam. You also, never mind. I don't want to talk about it. I like SiriusXM. We know that, but I have I have a lot of issues with it. In the same way, Peloton I have issues with, but I want to support because I think it's a good idea. Peloton's going to become the next place news. It's true. Peloton just, never mind. Okay, I'm done. They signed up with Spotify. They have this new thing where you can get workouts inside the Spotify app. Speaking of super apps, Spotify is really a super app. You can get concert tickets. You can buy merch. You can listen to music. You can watch podcasts, all that stuff. Anyway, a TV anchor not only gets 6, 7, or 8 figure salaries, all the benefits and prerequisites that come with the corporate employment, but they also get an entire staff of producers, crew members, and a lot of other people who often do the work. While there are plenty of workaholic news anchors, there are others who show up for an hour before air, read a teleprompter, and head home. With the corporate structure, you do get for real money, and they're going to pay you what you are owed. Although I do believe in the past couple of years, Anderson Cooper and a lot of other CNN people had to take lesser salaries. But if you break off on your own, you can hire a modest production team and build a video podcast setup that meets the current standard, which can run from mid 6 figures to $1 million. But the payout on that could also be bonkers. You can make it lucrative. Look at Megyn Kelly. Look at Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan, according to Weprin, raised a reported $30 million for his Uncensored, that's the name of it, media company at a 9-figure valuation. Hassan says that his thing has 65,000 paid subscribers, which some back of a napkin math pencils out to mid-single-digit millions in revenue annually. Then there's also advertising and live events. And then think of the people who see that Piers Morgan has a show, or Megyn Kelly has a show, or Mehdi Hassan has a show that did not know. And they're like, I wonder where they went. Like, oh my gosh, I can go watch Mehdi Hassan on my own. I can give him the money. The personalities who have found success in digital almost all have a strong point of view. And I think that's very true. It's very right. There are some people who work for Fox News or CNN or Miss Now who could probably break out and host a podcast and it do fine, but it won't do as well because a lot of people would love to have their own thoughts and beliefs just reassured. And that's also a very dangerous thing in news. Like if you just, people who watch Fox News, for instance, they all believe the lies that come out of the mouths of those anchors and correspondents. And news can't be, it's not an objective thing. I believe Anthony Mason has his own new interview show as well. He does. But that was announced like this week. The success of opinionated hosts on YouTube and in podcasts underlines the conundrum facing those working in TV. With the take-centric model that helped propel Fox News to the top of the ratings charts, seeping into almost every corner of the business from CNN's Newsnight to CBS News under Barry Weiss. And the problem with the Barry Weiss situation is that broadcast news, much like PBS NewsHour, is not no news is supposed to take a side, but nevertheless, CBS News is now, because of Barry Weiss, leaning into a direction that it should not be leaning into. But that isn't stopping TV talent who are acutely aware that what happens on CNN or Miss Now or a podcast appearance is often spread via those clips. The only reason I know Megyn Kelly's show has video is because, and Piers Morgan's show has video, is because of shows like Late Night with Seth Meyers and Jimmy Kimmel Live that show clips when they are doing, in the case of Late Night with Seth Meyers, a closer look. Now, is this something that we can continue to expect seeing? Yes. But again, money is a big factor. Network morning show anchors can earn anywhere between $1 to $20 million. Cable news primetime stars can be the same amount. Evening news anchors can earn a little bit lower than that, up to about $10 million. And anybody working on cable news or Sunday show moderators or as correspondents, they can earn anywhere between $250,000 a year to $4 million a year. There's a big range in between all that for everybody. But again, if you have a voice, if you're a Tucker Carlson or you're a Piers Morgan or you're a Megyn Kelly, and those are the three people who have the most followers. Let's look at the chart. Here's the chart. You can see that if you're watching the video, Tucker Carlson has 5.9 million, Piers Morgan has 4.41, Megyn Kelly has 4.16, and then the drop off is dramatic. Mehdi Hassan has 1.95 and Don Lemon has 1.29. Now those are the ones that people like and that have takes and that are able to make money outside of this industry, that outside the traditional side of the industry. And it's just important to know that not every correspondent or host or anchor that has a show can leave and do the exact same thing. It's just not possible. But it can be a lucrative thing where you can make some money. It's very much the same thing that just because somebody can go out and host a podcast, and a regular person, doesn't mean it's going to be popular. So don't do it. All right, I'm done. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see a video version of this show as well as, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see almost everything I've done, including the interviews that I host with famous people sometims. This week, I just put out Joanna Ross, comedian. You can see it. You can see the interview previously in the RSS feed for this, or watch the video of the interview on youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can see the other interviews, as some of them, and then the video version of this show, as well as video versions of the other podcasts, Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and LinkedIn Logs, the jobs and business news podcast. Subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media at @CPlusComedy on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Me on those platforms at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to go to sleep now. Bye.